What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and the weirdest thing has come to light online over the last day or two, and that is that we all know the Nintendo Switch launched a few months ago back at the start of March to resounding and critical success and acclaim. And while yes, there are many features missing from it and a lot of people are unhappy about certain things missing, like say the virtual console, hint hint, but when you look at the actual progress of the Nintendo Switch and what they've added since it launched in, firmware updates and stuff, there hasn't really been that much. Or maybe there has been, depending on what way you look at it. For the simple reason is hackers, modders, crackers, the homebrew community, whatever you want to call it, they have been getting their hands on the Nintendo Switch for, well, 3 or 4 months at this point. And they've been looking around, digging in deep into the actual software, the operating system, and every time a new firmware comes out, they dig into that, see what it does, see what else they can find because of new stuff that's in the new one that they didn't previously could view or have access to. So they've been having fun with it anyway for the meantime. Nothing solid has really come out of what they can do with it just yet, but these things take time. One thing that is really curious though is that just recently it's been brought to everyone's attention that there is a Nintendo emulator, an actual NES emulator built in to the firmware of the Nintendo Switch. Now, so far from what I could find, it's unclear what version of the firmware that it was originally included with. I don't know if it's been in there since launch, if it was added in one of the firmware updates, but the point is, if you have a Nintendo Switch on the most recent version of the Nintendo Switch OS firmware, you actually have a Nintendo emulator of some capacity. Now, that's really strange. For the simple reason is there's no virtual console. Now, there's two ways of looking at this. One of them is that when the Nintendo Switch was first properly announced, not the little 3-minute teaser trailer, but when it actually had its full reveal press conference and they went into detail, talked a little bit about some of the features and subscription services and stuff, they actually straight up mentioned that there was plans to bring NES and SNES games to the subscription style service that you would exchange every month with your online subscription fee, and then you would lose access to them. Now, we know that feature set has been changed, and now it'll be a whole games with gold, PlayStation Plus, Netflix style thing, where as long as you're subscribed, you have access to every game that was made available while you were subscribed. So we all know that's there. So we know from the beginning that Nintendo intended to bring SNES and in this case NES games to the Nintendo Switch in some capacity. Now, has it been in there since launch? It's unconfirmed. No one knows at the moment, at least not that I could find. Or more curiously, is this a new addition in a recent firmware? If it is, it could potentially be slightly maybe leaning towards the possible upcoming announcement and or release of the virtual console, because we all know NES games are a big part of the virtual console. SNES games obviously being the big draw, but NES games are there and can be, an appeal to some people nonetheless. So it begs a couple of different questions. One, with the games that Nintendo plans to offer with their subscription service, let's just call it the Games with Gold style service, the games that they include with that, will they work as virtual console games if we even have a virtual console by then, or if there is even going to be a virtual console, or will they be done separately? Will they be done as a slightly different version of the game so it won't register on your account as a virtual console game, but it will register as some other form of game? It's really hard to tell at the moment, especially because this could be the virtual console emulator. Even if, whatever way I've just mentioned that you look at it, it could still work as the virtual console emulator. This also brings one extra question that I'd like to really hope for. Is this potentially the NES emulator used and completely created brand new from scratch on the NES Classic or the NES Mini, whatever you call it, depending on whatever region you live in? Because we all know that's an extremely high quality NES emulator. We all know that the Wii U NES emulator was a load of dirt, as is basically everything Wii U, but at the same time, this could potentially be the emulator from the NES Mini. We don't know yet, but if it is, that's going to lend itself to being nothing but a good thing when it comes to actual NES emulation on the Switch. Either way, no matter what the situation is, if it's something we listed in the video so far, or something that we haven't listed and that I've completely overlooked, but either way, no matter what it turns out to be, the fact is Nintendo looked ahead and had the foresight to include a NES emulator in some capacity of the Nintendo Switch's firmware. By the way, I don't think I've mentioned it so far, but for some reason, the way it's hidden and all in the actual system files, it's called the actual NES emulator file or program or whatever you want to call it is called flog. It's pretty strange when you think about it. I mean, depending on where you live, flog means one of a couple of different things. So why flog? Maybe it's because they're looking at it in the sense that they can just flog us Nintendo games again. That, depending on where you live, you might not know what that use of the word means, but flogging something to someone means selling. Flog is a colloquial verb to sell. So, you know, you flog something, you sell it off, you flog it to someone, you sell it to someone, you get the point. Yeah, I know, English is weird like that. Anyway, what's the deal? What do you think Nintendo is doing with the NES emulator on here at the moment? Do you think it's going to be something we've covered in the video so far? Do you think it's going to be something different? How do you think they have gotten away with putting something on like this with no virtual console in sight? Do you think we might see a random announcement in the next couple of months or whenever it is? Hopefully the sooner the better, because Jesus Christ, I need my fucking SNES games on my Nintendo Switch. But that's beside the point. Also, do you think it's the emulator used in the NES Classic, the NES Mini? Do you think it's that one? Do you think it's one based on that and just improved to add more games? Or do you think it's just some other emulator? Because God knows what it could be at this point. So let me know anything you think about the Nintendo Switch, NES emulation, SNES emulation, this particular emulator, as well as we'll throw in the Virtual Console and subscription game service on there as well. Let me know all of that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.